All right, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Dr. Bernice Glenn White, and you are with me on another live. Well, it's not live to you because it's recorded, but we're doing it live, another coaching session. And if you're new to me, I do have a few others on my channel, but I do these so that you will understand like my approach to coaching, and then maybe you get some nuggets out of hearing real life people go through a process with me, and then you'll witness their own discovery. This is Dr. Kim, and why she is special. Well, I mean, all of my guests and clients are special, but Dr. Kim was the very first person who actually invested not only time with me, but actual coaching dollars with me. And that's a big deal. One for me is because we were both new to like, wait, you want me to do what with this? You want me to do what? Coaching, like it's not a professional conference. Is what I get, we were both like, what? And I was like so nervous asking her. She was nervous like to pay, but we got through it together. And then it was also about she knows me, like she knew, like of course she knows me as Dr. Bernita or Dr. Glowy, but she knew me as Bernita as I was going through the process before I got my PhD. So she knows me, and then for her to still be able to say, yeah, I trust you to take me this. I see where you're going. I know all of this, but I still see where you're going. I'm going to trust you with my time and my money. So I was like, oh my gosh. Look, y'all, that is a big deal. So I will forever be grateful to Dr. Kim because she is, I will say she will always be the catalyst of that. Now, I have done coaching before, but to be that first person to say, okay, I'm going to do this scared. And I'm so excited that she's here. What, about 3 years later?
Hey, 2 years because we
Two,
started in
it was 2 years.
January of 21.
Oh, 21. Okay. Look,
Yeah.
everything gets lumped
With the
into 2020
official,
with me.
yeah, with the official coach, and of course there was, the other group stuff that I participated in that you had in 2020. But
Okay.
as far as like with the actual coaching, it started January of 21.
Okay. See that? Look, she remember. And look, all of everything that was a blur was 2020 pandemic.
That's
But
so long ago.
it does feel so long ago. But she also, because I asked her to do a testimonial for me, a video testimonial for me, and she reminded me about the group stuff that I did. Like I totally forgot that I was doing that. So it was also a good reminder to say, no, chick, you've been in this. You've helped people before. So stop acting like you're brand new to this. And so I was so grateful for that. All right, so I know everyone else didn't get that type of intro, but I wanted to set the stage for you all to show a different perspective. Like some people may say, okay, because she asked me this question, I did not have an answer for her at the time. She was like, okay, so what's next? I'm like, I kid you not. Well, no. We did 3 months together. We met once for like an hour for 12 weeks. And she was like, what I do next?
And I was like,
I was like, she was like, okay, I'm gonna go travel now. I was like, okay. So I,
okay.
it's funny now, but I'm going to just toot my own horn a little bit and say, I believe, and she'll say this too. I gave her enough to be like, okay, I got something to keep me going. And she, of course, did other things, invested in other things. It opened the door for her to do other things. And that's the other part of coaching. Like sometimes you just need a jump start, and it's not meant for you to stay in one place forever. Just opens up your doors. And if you come back around, cool. If not, then that's cool too. But I do, this is not for Dr. Kim, but I do have something else, just so you all know. I have grown since, all right. So let's get right into it. So, Dr. Kim, you filled out the form, and I have some kind of starting point of what you would like for us to talk about. But I am going to ask you, what would make this a dynamic session for you today?
Um, I think really just kind of follow up with like the things that I've been doing. Cause like you said, even though there was nothing afterwards, I still have like a lot of homework. I still have a lot of things to do and to get in place. And I did some of those things. I did a lot of those things actually. So I think it would kind of be good just to kind of follow up like, okay, this is where I am now, the things I did, the things I still need to continue to do.
Okay. So two things that you listed out were in the financial space and the health space. What is the first thing that's coming up for you about where you want to focus your attention first?
I really need to focus my attention in the financial space because I just got through like looking at my little budget and adding up some debt that I was trying to eliminate, and I was like, oh, so yeah, that's definitely a good place to start.
Okay, so in terms of the debt and the financial space, when you think about it, what feeling does that bring to your body? Do you have an actual physiological feeling when you start talking about money?
I think I did a few minutes ago because, like I said, right before I got on here, I was actually, going through my accounts and looking at some things, and I did feel some type of way because when I added up the amount of debt, I was like, oh, like I was not expecting that. So I did. I mean, there was just kind of this rush. There was a little bit of nervousness because, like, all right. And then I just kind of prayed at that point because I'm like, all right, God, like, how are we supposed to make this happen? Because I have this goal of eliminating a lot of that by this summer, so I can, walk into August kind of free of that and have a little bit more freedom and flexibility. But in my mind, when I was looking at the number, I was like, oh yeah, you're gonna have to get out here and get all the jobs um, in order to make this happen. So there was just for a minute, just I felt kind of overwhelmed. I just kind of felt myself getting to that point, but I really just had to kind of bring myself back down. Like, okay, it's not the end of the world. You didn't get in this, overnight. So you didn't even get in this, over the course of 2 or 3 months. So it's definitely going to take a little bit of time to get myself out of it.
So why do you feel that it caused you to be nervous? Is it just the amount or what you're making the amount mean or what you use the money for?
I think it was the actual amount because even I started looking, like just kind of thinking back, and even when I was going in there and looking at some of the items that I purchased, and I felt like too there was a little bit of disappointment because it's like, all right, really like these things that you use the credit cards to get, it's like really like did you really need these things? Like it wasn't things that I actually needed. So it was like things that I just want. It's like, oh, I want this, and I'm just going to go ahead and get it. Oh, I take care of that later. So I felt that little bit of disappointment kind of creep in. Like, come on now, you know better. Like, you gotten yourself, out of this situation, and now you're going right back in. It's like what to do. It's like you shouldn't be making these type of like these are rookie mistakes. Like you shouldn't be, out here doing this.
Okay, so I want you to think of one thing that was on the list, and you can share whatever you want to share. It doesn't have to be everything, but just pick one thing from that list, and we're going to go through something, and I want to see if that same feeling still came up. So, do you have that one thing? It could be something small. It's like, why was my coffee bill $300? It could be it could be whatever. So just pick something in your mind that it is what it happened. That's the number and that's what I spent the money on. You got it?
Right. Yeah,
All
I
right.
got it.
So how did you feel at the time that you purchased said thing?
That I shouldn't have been buying it.
Okay. Did you felt like that at that moment? Like I'm about to swipe.
I I felt like that at the moment, like because it was supposed to be a birthday gift, but I got it earlier than so I was supposed to get it in February. So the goal was, okay, you're gonna save up your little cash and you'll get it in February for your birthday. But I was somewhere in September and I saw it. No, not September, actually October. I was well, I shouldn't say I was somewhere. I purposely went to the store where it was
Okay.
in October because they don't have the store here in Jacksonville, but they have the store in Miami. And I was like, well, let me just go. It's there. Let me just go in, try it on. Hadn't tried it on before just to see. what it's like. And then next thing I know, I'm standing at the counter, my card is out, and the purchase is being. And at that moment, I knew that I shouldn't because I already had to go because this is something I definitely wanted. And I already had this goal to get it in February. And I really was supposed just to go in there just to try it on to see what it looks like. So when February comes, you can just go online and order it. You know your size, boom, 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 and then that's it. So I was not supposed to walk out with anything on that particular day. So when I was getting it, like I knew I wasn't supposed to. I was still kind of excited. It's like, oh, I finally get it. But there was a bigger part of me that was like, now you know this is not the timeline. Like this is not what we said. You know that we're supposed to be doing.
Okay. That was a lot in there. Let's back up a little bit. There was a small moment where you were excited about the thing you had purchased. Talk more about the excitement of the thing because it wasn't like you just saw it in October. You had been thinking about this thing.
Yeah,
So,
this is something. Yeah, it was something I had. So it was a pair of shoes, and I had been wanting these shoes for since the summer. Well, still was the summer. So maybe like since the earlier part of the summer, I started seeing them, and I was like, "Oh, those were cute. That would be cute on my feet." And like I said, there wasn't a store here, so it was like, "Oh, I need to go somewhere and trying them on at some point." So I had my eye on these, and I was like, "Oh, this would be a perfect birthday gift." Because usually for my birthday, I always buy myself like a really nice, a really nice gift. And I was like, "Oh, this would be perfect for birthday." Plus, you can start putting your money aside. You know how much they cost. Start putting your money aside, and you can get them in February. So, so yeah, I mean, I had been seeing them for like 2, 3, 4 months. Had went out to dinner with a friend and she had some on. I was like, oh, they look cute on people. And so I was like, oh yeah, these would be like really, really, this would be really cute. So that was like, the driving force for getting them. And then of course once I tried them on, I was like, oh yeah, these are cute.
okay. So the fact that you were all excited and you got something that you wanted and you were able to, I'll use the term manifest it now. What made you go from, oh my gosh, I'm excited to the disappointment? What did you make that mean about yourself after you got them? Like you killed your high just that quick. So what did you make that mean about yourself?
That I didn't have any self-control.
Mm.
It's like because I knew like the shoes weren't going anywhere. They were going to be on the website, or I could even drive to Orlando. There's a store in Orlando, so I could have drove over there and got it. So it wasn't like I couldn't ever get them. And, because I was proud of myself for even setting the goal. I was like, all right, this is goal when February comes around. Like out of each little, your little, side hustle check, take this much out every time February comes around. Boom, you got the full cash payment. And you can just go in and just get them with cash. And so when I didn't do that, I was like, man, like you have no self control. It's like you have no self control whatsoever.
So hearing yourself say that now that you have no self-control, how does that feel to you? How does that feel in your body now hearing yourself say that out loud? Is that
Um,
is that true or is that just something you experienced in that moment?
it's hard to say because there were several moments like that. Because even when I purchased the shoes just the day before at a different type of store in Miami, I had made another big purchase for something else that was also supposed to be purchased during my birthday. And so it was like, all right, so and then my justification for that was, well, it's on sale. Like, you've been looking at this bag for months and it has not been on sale. You just happen to walk in the store in Miami, ta-da, it's on sale. And so even then I was like, well, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get that because it's on sale. It's like this stuff doesn't go on sale that often. I'm gonna go ahead and get it. No big deal. I'll save the shoes for February for sure, and then I'll pay this off. And so, I really kind of felt like, so it was kind of hard to say because then I think about the things that were even purchased after that, things that I did not need, things that I just clearly wanted. And so that's why it's kind of hard for me to say, to not think, okay, this is like an issue. This is like a self control thing. Like, you can't, control this impulsive buying. And if it had only happened like those two times, I don't think I would think that way. But like I said, when I look back at the other things that were purchased, I'm like, yeah, these were just impulsive purchases. Like it was nothing that was like needed. It wasn't any type of emergency. Like these were just things like, oh, I want it right now. I'm just going to go ahead and get it. I'll pay my credit card off later.
Okay, we're going to shift gears a little bit. Why do you work?
At this point, I feel like to pay bills. It's like to keep myself. I mean, that's a good. I mean, I work really to take care of myself. To pay my bills. To try to enjoy some things in life. Yeah, but like I said, I feel like at this point I'm working just to pay off bills and keep it. I feel like at some point I used to probably think different, but and it's so interesting. And I don't know why I did all of my financial stuff before I got on here because like all this is fresh on my mind. So I have like all this, really on me. Like, oh my gosh, it's like no, you're just working to pay bills now, sister. Because looking at that number that I just added up, it's like no, we're just working to pay bills. But I mean, I feel like I do want to enjoy and I try to enjoy, but I feel like I don't know how to. I don't want to say like put a limit on my enjoyment, but I don't know how to manage enjoying. Like I enjoy too much. And I don't need to enjoy that much. I feel like there needs to be some type of boundaries with my enjoyment.
Okay, we'll get to that. Just looking at those two things that you purchased, would it have made a huge difference in that number had you purchased them in February when you say you're supposed to purchase them?
Um, I don't think so. I mean, no. I mean, because even like the bag with it being on sale, it was only. I mean, it was on sale, but it wasn't like a sale.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't the type of sale that I'd be like, oh, like, I'm not leaving out of here without, that type of thing. And so really it wouldn't have been a difference. I mean, I just would have had to, and I would have had to sacrifice in other places to save all that cash up, to get it in February. And so, but like price wise, like the shoes were going to be the same price. They weren't, that price wasn't going to change. Um, the bag, I kept going back to the website. The bag has continued to be on sale. So it probably would have been on sale in February, despite me thinking, oh my gosh, it's on sale. And of course, listening to the salespeople who, they're always hyping you up. And so, like, oh, this bag never goes on sale. Like, you should go ahead and get it now. It's like, oh. And so, at the end of the day, everything would have still been the same, but I just would have had the cash to purchase. Or who knows? I may have saved up the cash and decided, you know what? I've saved up all this cash. I don't think I want to buy those things. I think I want to do something else for my birthday. But, the cash would have still been saved regardless.
Do you enjoy those items now?
Oh, yeah, I make myself enjoy the heck out of those items because I'm like, yeah, I do.
So,
I do enjoy, but sometimes I enjoy, but sometimes I kind of look at it like, oh, like, did you really have to have this? You know what I'm saying? It's like one of them gets enjoyed more than the other. Because like for one of like every time I look at the shoes, it's like, yeah, they're cute, but it's like, oh, it's like, you really could have waited. Like you really could have waited. So
okay, I'm asking those questions because I do want you to detach from the thing because it could have been anything. You got a list of things. So let's not make the focus on every time I see these shoes, I go through this whole experience of them because then that's going to lead you down this whole issue of self-control and we don't need you spiraling. So right now, mentally, I want you to detach from all the things on the list because do you, before I say this, do you think that you make good decisions overall?
I do. I feel like I do.
Okay, so if you know that you make good decisions overall, is it safe for us to say that, well, I did the best that I did in this moment and it is what it is? Can you do that?
I feel I, I feel like I could do that, but I feel like there's so many other forces and voices that are telling me like, like you didn't make a good decision on those simply because it was something that was material. And I think like had I like if I had taken that money and like invested it or if I had given it away, um, I feel like I wouldn't look at it the same way.
So had you given that money away, would you still have this number, this big number that you're looking at?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, if I had given yeah, I mean it would have still if I had like taken that and like just used it like and bought something for somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, the number I mean the number was still gonna be there regardless.
Would you have felt the same way had you invested it and then whatever you invested in crashed and the money was gone? Would you still felt like, oh man, I don't have any self control?
I wouldn't have felt like I don't have any self control. I probably would have been like, man, that was not the best decision.
Okay, so that's not
I feel like it still would have been something like on me. Like, okay, so maybe not self control, but I would have been like, yeah, that was not a good decision. Like, you should not have done that.
but would you keep reminding yourself of that bad investment like you're doing with this actual material item?
No, I wouldn't. I guess because I wouldn't have anything to see for it.
Okay, so because you can see it, it's a constant reminder. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So do you feel that way about the place you're living in? I mean, it's money going out. It's a constant reminder. Got to pay
It
this
sure
bill.
is money going. No, because I don't look at I don't look every day and be like, oh my gosh. No, I don't think that way. I mean, when I get ready to pay my rent every month, I'm like, man, like this is a lot. But I don't no, I don't like, I don't wake up every day and look at my walls and be like, oh, like this is too much.
Right now, I'm gonna ask you this: could you not be in that place? Like, could where you're living, you could live much cheaper if certain things. It's like I did not have to be here to have walls and lights. Not
Um,
just in general. Like, could you? Did you have to be where you are?
I didn't have to be. No, I don't think I had to be. I don't think I had to be, but I think even if I was somewhere else, it was going to kind of be the same just because rent is real crazy right now in Florida. Like everywhere is just, but I feel like there were some places that probably would have been a little bit cheaper. Um, but it just may not have had some of the like certain like security aspects that I like about where I am now.
Some amenities, a little
So
bit of luxury.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say that. And I feel like in my mind I justified that, with that. I was like, well, it has this safety feature, this, that, and the other. So, I just have to chalk it up. I know I'm gonna have to cut corners other places so I can make this work. So I justified, me. Oh, I can tell by your face you getting ready to come back with something good. I can just tell in
I'm
your
just gonna
eyes. You're like,
I'm just gonna ask a question. I'm just gonna ask a question. Um, what does abundance mean to you?
abundance. Overflow, more than enough. I think those are the two things that will come up when I think about that: overflow and more than enough. More than I can imagine.
What does financial abundance, or I'll say financial freedom, mean to you?
Um, for me, financial freedom definitely means to me that means not having debt. And being able to freely give, to be able to freely, um, to really to be able to give, to not have that debt. Um, then even when I think about it, I think about it as not having certain types of debt. And so, but then I don't know because and then it's something I'm trying to get rid of to this whole notion of like the good debt. So like there is no such thing as really good debt. It's like debt is debt. So I feel like in my mind, there's a part of me is like, oh, but if you have a house, no, then that's good debt. But then if you have like the credit cards and if you have a car note, those type of things, it's bad debt. And so when I think about financial freedom, it's like, okay, well, definitely you don't have like debt, like credit card debt. And maybe you don't have like student loan debt. But then, like, if you have other debt, but I know that's really not, yeah.
Do you think having debt makes you a bad person?
I don't think it makes me a bad person. I think I'll probably beat myself up more for it than, I mean, because the reality is a lot of people have debt. So I don't think it necessarily makes me a bad person, but I think it just kind of makes, I'm just harder on myself for having it. Because I feel like I've been in a situation before where I did have that, got rid of all of that, and then it's kind of been like this ebb and flow. It's like, oh, we're into that. Oh, we're out of that. And so I think that's why I'm harder on myself because I know what it's like to not have that. And then, of course, I know what it's like to have that. So it's like, you were out and now you're back in. And so I think that's probably why I just, am much harder on myself about it. Even though I know that it's something that, doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't necessarily mean all these bad things, but I'm still just, I'm hard on myself about it
What was it like
because
when
I
you
feel
were
like I should know better.
okay? What was it like when you were out of debt?
I mean, it was good. I felt like, I mean, I still would buy things, but I would just buy them with cash. And I probably wouldn't buy the type of things that I purchase with my card because it's like, I have to be a little bit more cautious now because, like, all right, this is all my cash. And so I didn't, splurge the way that I do if I have a card. But,
Okay,
I definitely don't have to worry about my money like every month. Oh, I got to pay this card or I got to pay that card.
okay, back up. How did it feel to you to be out of debt? Feel.
I guess it felt freeing. I guess it did feel like there was just some form of freedom there, not having to make those monthly payments.
Go deeper. So what does that freedom like what is that feeling? What is that?
I
Because
guess
you
too,
still
I
had a
felt
payment.
responsible.
You felt responsible.
Right. I felt responsible because like, okay, I felt like I had quote normal payments. I have like, I have to pay for my car, or I have to pay for my rent. And like those are normal adult things that I have to pay for. And I felt like, the other stuff like the credit card debt, like those were irresponsible adult things. So I felt like, okay, if I didn't have that, I now felt like I was, felt like I was free, felt like I was, more responsible because I didn't have those things.
You said something earlier that in your responsible state that you didn't in a way splurge on certain things, but in your irresponsible state you could splurge. What I'm hearing, and let me know if I'm on track and you can say no, is it be subconsciously, well, if I'm responsible, in order for me to remain responsible, I don't deserve nice things. But if I'm reckless, I can get whatever I want. So is it a part of you like, if I got to be responsible, I got to give up things I really like. And I kind of like this being this irresponsible a little bit because I get what I want versus, even though I mean, I like the freedom, but I don't get to have what I actually want. Do you see that connection a little bit?
Ooh, that's good. Um, I can see that. Mm, okay. I can see that. That makes sense.
So kind of tell me now if you can see it, kind of like revoice it, say it back to me or to make sense for you.
And so like when I'm in that, so me being responsible, I mean, because I'm just thinking about like during the times where I didn't have that debt and I was being responsible, I mm, I felt like I don't know, it's almost like I didn't do as many things for myself as I did when I am the irresponsible person with the card. I felt like I I know I felt like I was definitely more of a frugal, kind of living more of that frugal lifestyle and maybe not doing as many things as I would for myself versus being the irresponsible person and always doing things for myself. Like just, giving myself whatever I wanted to give and then having that mantra too of, I work hard, I have to deal with this, that, and the other. I'm going to pay it off. That was always my thing. I'm going to pay it off. Like it's not like I'm going to pay it off. And so that was always my thing. Like, I work hard. I deserve this. I haven't bought myself something in a while. I'm gonna do this. It's my birthday. It's XYZ. Um, yeah, I think that's what I was supposed to be saying. I think, does that make sense?
Does it make sense
Kind of,
to
okay.
you?
Yeah, it does. And it's something I've never thought about. Um, yeah, because I've never really just sat down and thought about it that way. Because like I said, even before I got on here, I was kind of, doing myself and it's like, what are you doing? You're out of control. But never just really have thought about this deeply. It's like, okay, well, you did this, now you gotta fix it, whatever, whatever, cut back on this, that, and the other, you know.
Which Kim do you like the most?
Ooh, I don't know. I like both of them. I mean, I like the irresponsible Kim that likes to get the nice stuff, um, because she has good taste. Um, but I also like the responsible Kim because you know she's trying to do different things. She's trying to position herself to do other things. And so, I kind of like how she's thinking and how she's operating. It's like, hey, this is the goal that we're working toward. These are the things that we want to do in the future. And sometimes I feel like the irresponsible Kim knows those things, but it's almost like she's self-sabotaging herself. It's like I know like these are the things that I want to do that I'm working towards, but then I'll go out and buy something. So it's almost like, and I don't know if it's a fear from getting to that point to, a fear from getting those things that I'm working toward, and that's why I'm self sabotaging. Or, I mean, because honestly, at the end of the day, I don't really think it is too much of a self control thing. I do think that maybe it is something else that's there as to why, I will just look at something and be like, oh my gosh, all these nail polishes are $5. These vegan nail polishes are $5. I'm going to get all the colors. Why? It's like
Because
you
you
can
love
only
all the
wear,
colors.
I mean, even if you do a different nail, each finger a different color, that's 10. So you can only deal with 10 at a time. So it's like, why must you have all the colors? And so I feel like, sometimes I feel like, just knowing what's ahead, what's in the future, like the things that I know that are to come. I feel like maybe sometimes there's this, oh my gosh, like, I know that this is coming. I've been told that this is what's going to be coming forth. And it's almost like, okay, so I'm just going to self sabotage and like mess it up. So maybe like it won't come or I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna take you back to two things. The first one, you were saying that irresponsible Kim, it's like, well, you work hard, you deserve nice things. Do you believe that in order for you to have nice things, that you must always work hard for them? Or can you just have nice things?
I never thought about that. I never thought about it because I've always just been like, well, I work hard. I deserve it. Um, but I've never thought about that part of just, I mean, I feel like I definitely deserve nice things, but then it's like, who's gonna buy it other
But
than me?
aside from that, oh, I mean, I
At
don't
least right now,
just
other than
hey,
me, you
but
know.
you see how you're linking that. Can you just say because I am Kim, I deserve nice things. It doesn't matter if I work hard, work soft, work whatever, but because I who I am, I deserve nice things. How does that
Okay.
feel? Can you say that?
Yeah, because of who I am, I deserve nice things, all the nice things.
So it doesn't matter if
everything.
you work hard or not.
Right. But if I work hard, I'm not going to be able to buy.
But I'm
I
saying,
mean, but I okay, but I see what you're saying. And I've never, like I said, I've never thought about that because, like I said, that's always my justification where,
mm-hmm,
I work hard. So, and I've done this or, this happened. So I deserve this. But never that thought of, what, I just deserve it because I do,
just because I
because
do.
I'm me.
Right.
Okay.
Because we're trying to
Hmm.
just unlink some things. Just there has to be no justification. It's just I because I want it. I like it. And end of conversation. The other thing is
That's so scary though, to
why?
even because I feel like, people are like, well, yeah, but just because you want it doesn't mean you get it right now.
Who keep
You're
talk more
making me.
about that. Talk more about that. It's like I mean, I understand where
But I
you're
mean,
coming
I get it,
from.
but it's almost like that goes against everything that that society says. It's like, well, just because delayed gratification. I mean, just because you want it right now doesn't mean you should get it right now. I think, that's what we always hear. That's what and I think too, like, that's what I've always told myself. Oh, you need to have, some, just because you want it right now, don't mean that you get it right now. You save for it or get it. But I feel like I've kind of always operated. I feel like when I was buying some of those things, maybe I was operating on, well, just gonna get it now because I can't get it now. But then there's the responsible part of me is like, no, you're supposed to save and get it because that's what everybody says. That's what Dave Ramsey says. That's what all the people say. Like, save your money and then get the things that you want instead of just doing it now and putting on a credit card. Because, like, one of the things I was trying to do too was like kind of not live off of my credit cards, but like purchase things with my credit cards because I saw the value of all the points that I get for different things when I use certain cards. And I was like, ooh, like I got all these flight points over here now because of those, X, Y, and Z. But even like with that, I don't know, it's like I mean, it makes sense. Just all of this is like challenging what the way I've always thought and looked at the way that I spend. That's what it is.
Right.
Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just causing me to think differently about it
Mm-hmm.
and to look at it differently.
Right. And I want you to see it's not saying to go splurge and spend everything, and then it's not saying to be a hoarder, but it's something that has to align with you as what are you making those statements and actions mean about Kim? Because now we have irresponsible and responsible Kim, but truth be told, it's only one Kim. But we labeled
Right.
them responsible and irresponsible because of what's going on, the belief system. So all I want you to do is like, if you can you not make it about, well, people said I shouldn't versus, well, how do I feel in this moment? Do I trust myself in this moment? Does it make me feel happy? Not to like happy to cover up anything or fill a hole or a void. Like
Right.
I'm genuinely excited about these shoes. I want them and I'm going to get them and I can leave it and enjoy it right there versus, oh gosh, society said I should wait for delayed gratification. So you see how all of that goes into your head with the purchase? But does that
Right.
align with who you are? Like, do you say that you have to wait? Like, do you feel have did you grow up like that? Like you need to wait? No.
No. I mean, I no, because I mean usually like if there was something that I wanted, you know, somebody got it. Um or even like I remember like even like I had, cards that I didn't have to pay, somebody else is paying the credit card bill. So it's like, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and get it. Or, it's like, okay, here's this card, use it for emergencies. It's like, well, there's this emergency party coming up. So, I have to go buy emergency outfit, but then just so there wasn't any delayed gratification, like, oh, I want it, I need to get it, I'm just gonna get it and that's what it is. And even when I've had, cars before and I paid them off, there was the thing like, oh, you know what? Want this right now, or I have this going on, I'm gonna get it, paid off the card, and that was the end of it. But I don't know, it's something different about being in debt now. And I don't know if it's because, when you start getting older, things just started, everything just starts just moving different and just seeming different. So it's something about this time at this particular age, I guess, of having this debt that is just so like, oh my gosh, versus like 10, 20 years ago when I had like a little bit of credit card debt, and then I just pay it off and, just kind of, put something on it, pay it off. So I don't know. It's like now it's like it's just all hitting so differently. Um, and I think that's the thing. Like I don't think I have spent this much time like even thinking about credit card debt now versus like years ago. Um, which is yeah, which is weird.
We're going to come back to that. The other part, when you talked about your definition of abundance, was overflow more than enough. But then you said, why do I need all the vegan nail polish? Well, if you really think about abundance and overflow, you operate in that. It just happens to be with nail polish. So if you believe that what abundance is, and you can see that in some area you have abundance, why are you making a judgment about that? It's
Hmm.
true, you only need one color, but you like abundance and overflow, so I'm getting all the colors. Why would you now say, but do I really need that when you said what abundance meant to you? Is it because of what they said?
And I think it I think in some ways it is because I feel, like I said, I feel, disappointed. It even to an extent like embarrassed. Like if I actually had to tell somebody like how much credit card debt I have right now, like I would not like you can get me to tell nobody that right now. Like not right now. Maybe in a couple of months when that number comes down a little bit, but like right now, and I feel like it's like this in that, embarrassment of like, okay, you too old to be operating like this. Like you shouldn't, like you should know better making these type of financial decisions. Um, but not thinking, I mean, like even with the fingernail polish, like to me, it's almost like, oh, it's like it's horrible. I mean, I'm not going, yeah, I use them. I'm gonna use them all the time. If I go to the nail shop, I'm gonna use them. I'm at home, I'm gonna use them. So it's like, it's not like they won't get used. But I guess, like I'm looking at them as like, did you have to get them all at the same time though? You know, yeah. And so now it's like I'm having to like the questions you're asking me is having me to think about this and look at this in a whole new, like just through totally different lens now. And I'm like, well, I don't know. And it's kind of hard, like I said, because because I'm hearing what you're saying, which is making total sense. And then like I'm hearing like the other things, like like you need to take all this stuff back and get your money back and put it towards bills. And I'm like, really? Like, do I really need to do that though? But it's like I don't want to do that. So like the other day I saw a bag and I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get this. I don't have this color. This is cute. I can have that or whatever. And it's still sitting in there with the tag and everything on it because I'm like, do you really need it though? Like, do you need that? I mean, yeah, you don't have that color. You don't have anything that looks like it, but do you really need it? And so, like, it's sitting in there because it's like, okay, if I wake up tomorrow, like, oh my gosh, you don't need it, you can take it back and get your money back. But then it's like, but I like it though. And it's cute. And I don't have one like it. And
Okay.
so like that's been the conversation the last couple of days in my head about that.
Do you think you also approach it like, well, gosh, the number is so big, it really don't matter what else I do?
Well, you know what? I can't spend anything now because I put all of my credit cards in the freezer. Like I got a container, put some water in it, stuck the cards in there and stuck it in the freezer.
That works for
So I was
real?
like, oh my girl, you can't even buy nothing if you wanted to because this would take them things at least 24 hours to thaw out, if that. So I feel like, but I feel like I had to do something just so I could stop, so I could focus on eliminating. They're not going to be there forever, but at least for the next 5 months, maybe until I, get everything paid off and then sit down and be like, okay, so, if you're going to have one in your wallet, this is the one you keep in your wallet, put the other ones in your little closet or whatever until you really need them. So I felt like I had to do something
Mm-hmm.
to like make it make sense. I feel like I had to do something, radical to really kind of jumpstart all of this. Because I felt like if they were just out and I knew they were out, there would be that temptation to use them for something, you know?
Do you really want that debt to go away?
Yes,
How important
most
is
definitely.
how important is it to you?
I mean, it's important enough that where I've, got me like another little side hustle to do to, put money towards that debt. I've, cut back on a lot of things that I would typically do. I've cut back on those things so I can put that extra money towards it. And so I feel like I'm doing and cutting back on things so I can put extra money toward eliminating that and not, not having that debt.
If the debt was erased tomorrow, what would you be doing differently?
If the debt was erased tomorrow, then I'm gonna have more money to actually put into my savings account. And actually to get that account looking the way that it should be looking.
If the debt was erased tomorrow, how would you feel in your body?
Relief, like a lot of relief. Um, yeah, like a load had been lifted off.
Is it possible for you to feel relief even though the number is still there? Like you're not dead. You didn't die. So knowing are you able to be like, okay, it's there, but I can still find a place of what relief actually feels like for me. Because if it's not the debt, it could be something else. But you're saying
Right.
that can is it something that you can think about? Is it a place where you can go within yourself to remember what relief feels like in your body?
I feel like there was a sense of relief too, like when I put the cars in the freezer. There was like a sense of relief because it's like, okay, you can't get to them. And so I feel like there was a sense of relief then because I feel like, okay, now you're really being forced to address this because you can't go out and use them. You can't go out and get them. Um, I feel like I should be able to feel a sense of relief because, first of all, I have a job, so I'm able to, have money to pay, the credit card. So I'm not in a situation where I have this number and then I have no way of like putting money towards it and paying it down. And so I feel like, and I feel like sometimes too, I'm like, I'm I kind of take a step back and be like, okay, I shouldn't be complaining because, somebody else could be in the same situation and they don't have a job. So it's almost like, why are you really complaining? Like, okay, you got the money to pay the bills. Like somebody's out here with credit card debt and they don't have no money. They out here, on the, what is it, the fans only or only fans or whatever, trying to make it work,
Showing feet.
whatever it is. But it's like, you have a job, you have a good job, like you have resources. So it's like, why are you out here flipping out? You just, I mean, like you can do it. It's not like it's not going to get done. It's just, and I think too, because I have this like my timeline that I want it to happen. It's like I just wanted that to be, ta-da, like gone, in Jesus' name, like it's gone. And it's like it's just, it's like it just doesn't, like I didn't get into it that way, so I'm not going to get out of it that way. And so, it's like you have to kind of, you know, yeah, pace
Do,
myself.
do you think Jesus could just make it go away?
I mean, hey, he can. I
Okay.
mean, he could scoop down with the check in the mail tomorrow out of nowhere that eliminates all of that,
Mm-hmm.
for sure, for sure.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking those questions is because It's like you came in a lot with all the debt and what it made, what it meant, what it made you to be the type of person that you are. Like you disappointed, you know, no self-control and self-sabotaging. But is that who you are at your core? Are those traits that you naturally carry around with you at your core?
Mm-mm, not at
So
all.
so again, what is it about this number? Because if it was I don't know 5,000, would you still feel the same way? I mean, it's still debt.
I wouldn't feel the same way if it was five. Because I feel like, because to me, five is like, oh, that's easy. Like I can knock that out in a couple of months.
But then you also say embarrassing. It's like embarrassing to who? Like if you told somebody, what are they gonna do? Like, oh girl, you shouldn't. And then you like, okay, but it is what it is. I got all this because I I had all these experiences. I got all my shoes and bags. It is what it is. You know, it's like, can you
Right.
detach from all of that? Because it's a form of shame and guilt. But haven't you made other decisions in your life where in the moment it's like, oh crap, but you were able to pick yourself back up and be like,
True.
so what
Yes.
is it
Very much
actually?
so.
Right. So you have those a bit. Why is it so difficult for you to transfer that to this number? Because it's a number.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know because I don't know. Money is so, or not really money. I mean, just, and I don't know. And I think it's just the way that I look at debt. Um, yeah, I think it's a lot of just too, just the way that I look at debt, which is so interesting because I feel like I've always had some form of, well, no, I haven't, because at one point, like I didn't have a car payment, so I knew like what it was like just to be have no debt, like
Mhm.
none whatsoever, credit card, or anything. And I feel like just, yeah, I don't know, I don't know, and maybe I feel like a lot of, and that's one thing I've been trying to do. I feel like you can kind of get in the place where I feel like there's so many different things that I'm listening to and I'm hearing, and so many different voices and people, and not bad people or whatever
Right.
that I listen to, and it's like, oh, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that, and sometimes I feel like, oh no, you need to just like pull back, like just not even just focus on what you've been told to do, and just really just focus. Like I've been listening to like a lot of things about finances over the last couple of days, over the last couple of weeks, and I feel like even when listening to those things, sometimes it's like, oh man, like you've got to get yourself together, like pull it together, Harold. Like you have got to, you really got to get it together because of X, Y, and Z, and you want to do this and you need to do that. This is how that should be. This is how, that over there should be. And I feel like sometimes that's just kind of overwhelming. And I feel like I'm kind of in that space where I'm listening to a lot, but I probably need to tune some of it out because I feel like it's helping to kind of create the narrative that I'm currently, operating under, which is obviously not very accurate and not very positive. I can see now.
Right. So what I'm giving you some self work for this because it's what I want to get at. Like, is there a plan that we could put in place for you to knock this out? Absolutely, but that's not going to solve anything because who knows, in 5 years it could be another number. At the core
Right.
of it, there's something that's keeping you there, and it's your relationship with debt. So I would suggest, can I suggest something?
Of course.
You can say no, even though I was like, I'm gonna tell you what to do. You can still say no.
You're gonna tell me anyway.
So what I suggest is actually look at the number and say it out loud a few times to yourself and then see what comes up for you in your body and actually record those feelings because it's real. And I'm not making light of any number because I know that's real pressure in life. But so what does that feel? You have to acknowledge that feeling. The other thing is, I want you to really sit with where did this feeling of debt come from? Like, why am I having this reaction right now? Where did it come from? And it's going to take some journaling. You might have to do it over a couple of days to find that moment. Like, where did this start? Because you didn't grow up like this, even as a younger adult, it wasn't like horrible, but it's something in this moment. So find out what triggered you. And I'll give you my real example. I've listened to one of the people that you've listened to, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to just eat rice and beans and I'm going to pay off all of my student loans, which I did. However, what that left me with was, I don't like this person of I have to deprive myself and be at the bare minimum and always scraping just so I can pay this thing off. Because, okay, so what? I paid the thing off, but it still took years. I was still in that lack mindset. And I was like, was it worth it? No, it was not. It wasn't worth sacrificing who I knew myself to be just so I can not have this number. Because guess what? Another number came anyway.
Right.
So I had to learn how to detach, regardless of what it was. Like, okay, the number itself doesn't mean anything. What does it mean for me? And I didn't find this out till years. Like, I had to trace back, and it was like, oh, it was that moment when I had to eat rice and beans. And I was like, that's not you. So for you, go back and find that moment. Like, what is it? And you're gonna have to journal through it. What is it? Every thought, a story, it'll come to you, and then write it down, because you have to disassociate yourself with the number. You are not the number.
Right. Right.
So, and then when you do that, then you'll get back into I believe you'll get back into, now I can make a plan, because you've made plans before. You've gotten out. you
Right.
you know how to put things in place and follow. You got a PhD, for goodness sake. We know you know how to make plans, get things done, and so
Right.
Kim knows that. But whatever is coming up or keeping you from whatever your relationship with this debt is, that has to be addressed before your
Okay.
plan can work. So you did great looking at the numbers. I do want you to go back and listen to what we talked about, because you had some major shifts in there. So this isn't about listening to a strategist on financial, because honestly, whichever one you pick, this is gonna work. Whether it's gonna work, whether you
Right.
get all the jobs or where you sit there and manifest, whatever you believe is gonna work, it's gonna work. So it has nothing to do with that, but it's you, because like I said, the debt can go away tomorrow, but if you haven't dealt with what your relationship is, something's gonna come back up.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That definitely makes sense.
Okay. So I don't think I did that with anybody else, but I need to give you some self work. One, because I know you're gonna do it.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And something I have not yeah, I haven't, thought about this or realized that it was something I needed to think about. So, yeah.
Okay. So I know we didn't come with, give me a plan, let all my money go away. But how do you feel now compared to how you felt before we started?
I feel bad. I don't feel as hard on myself as I was before we got started. Um, and it was so weird because I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about. That was on my list of things that I had to do today, regardless. I was like, well, let me go ahead and get it done because I had other stuff to do this evening. I was like, well, let me go ahead and get this done first. So it wasn't even, my intention to do it ahead of time, but I don't think that it was, by coincidence either. Um, so I mean, it's definitely got my brain going now to to really sit and think about, okay, why do I feel this way, and really to just when you were talking about just like looking at the number and saying it, because I remember like looking at it before I put it in my little thing, and I was like, oh, like let me just slide this on over here. Like we'll look at this tomorrow. Um, but yeah, but I feel like I said, I definitely don't feel I don't feel like how I was hard on myself before. I don't feel that right now. And so I feel a little bit better, like, okay, this makes a little bit of, it makes a little bit more sense now, and there are some things that I need to go back and think about. Because even, I mean, yes, it'll be helpful for me getting everything in place, but I think even helpful for in the future, because like you said, other things are going to come up, like other numbers will come up, other things will come up. So I think this also too just kind of gives me um kind of like a template or whatever to even use when I get to that point. It's like, okay, so before you go spiraling down there, and down that, rabbit hole, like remember these things, just ask yourself these questions or, just kind of sit with these certain things before I just go all the way out on left field and, you know, start thinking the absolute worst.
Yes. So go back. There are questions I asked that came up in the moment. I was, that was creative coaching. So I don't remember what they were at this moment, but they're recorded. So go back and but but seriously, like watch them and then take the time to answer them. And I love the coaching, got a whole coaching business, but I do believe that there is power in self-coaching. And if you can
Right,
start that groundwork and so wait a minute, let me go through these things. So if it's time for you to go to a financial coach, we're not starting at ground zero. You've done this work, and now we can
right.
get to, all right, give me my plan versus, oh my gosh, the plan, I don't pay those money. The plan isn't working. Well, it's not working because you didn't work on you. So go back, write down those questions, journal through those questions, and then, you may not, look, the solution may come tomorrow. I don't know. But when you make those connections, I think you'll be better off with your plan because you know how to plan, you know how to do it.
Right.
It's just you've associated somewhere. We need you to detach.
And you know what? It makes perfect sense now because I think about, like, I have a financial advisor I've been working with since 2017. And I feel like every time we meet, he's always telling me the same thing. And I feel like he's probably like, why don't you do what I have told you to do?
Yeah, I
It's
didn't
like,
know
he's
that.
like, all right. And so we met, like, what was it, last month? He's like, all right, so we'll meet again in August. And but he's probably been like, I mean, because he's seen me when everything was good and
Mm-hmm.
everything was, then he's kind of seen gradually. Because every time we meet, so what's your credit card debt now? And I'll say a number, he just kind of looks like that was not the last number. Like that number was not the same. But I mean, this is definitely something for me to think about because I've always been this person, oh, let me go out here and get this job. And he's always told me from day one, he was like, you have more than enough to pay off your debt. And somebody I was, talking with the other week, and she and I were just kind of talking about some financial things. And she was like, "Well, you don't have to get another job." And I was like, "Why does everybody keep saying that?" It's like, yes, I do. I have to pay this off. I have to do something else. But that's something I've thought about because, like, even the little stuff I'm trying to do on the side now, like one of the things, it's not like it's not working out. Like it's just taking so long. I was supposed to start in January, and I still haven't started to see kids yet. And I'm like, it's getting ready to be April. I have not made the money that I was supposed to make in my mind to pay this off. And I think that's another reason why I've been freaking out because I was like, oh, I signed this contract in January. I'm gonna start seeing these kids in February. So the end of February, end of March, I'll be able to get checks. I have not gotten a check because it has taken so long to get it up and running. Like the school year ends in May. And I'm like, so I haven't what I envisioned, what I had told my, financial planner. I was like, yes, I said I'm gonna get a straight, about $3 extra thousand, $4,000 at the most from this job. So that's like, February, March, April, May, boom, like that's gonna eliminate a lot of my debt. But now that's not happening. And I feel like that's probably like a part two of what I'm freaking out because it's like, okay, I had this plan to have all this extra money coming in. It's not coming in. And everybody keeps saying you don't need it. And I'm like, are y'all over here paying these bills? Because y'all are saying I don't need it. But I'm over here looking at these numbers like, yes, you do. Like, you need something. And so I feel like, too, that's kind of where I've just been like, oh, because my plan that I had planned is not going as planned. And so it's not going as planned. And people are telling me, oh, you don't need that plan. I'm like, yes, I do need that plan. So,
Okay, I'm gonna leave you with this one thing. I have to tell you this. Okay. I'm gonna tell you this, and then I'm gonna give you something to do. So I think that's three things I told you, and that's it, because I don't want to overwhelm you. One, and I've been operating this and learning this. Of course, you know that money is energy, and
Right.
and it could be the money doesn't want to come because it doesn't want to go to bills. Maybe it wants to go have fun. So until you get together, it was like, that's what you're gonna do with me. I don't want to do it. So maybe it don't want to do that.
It's like I don't want to come and do that.
I don't want that.
I want
So
to have fun.
I, so and the more I think of like I'm working, I was like, yeah, I can see that. So after you go through the deep work, the next thing I want you to do is just to play. Like if let's take okay, the number that the debt number, what if you just find all the fun ways you can spend that money? So whatever that number is, don't look at it as debt. Like, I got this pile of money. How would I spend it that doesn't include responsibility, bills? Do that
Mm, okay.
and just play because that money is like,
The money's like, that is not what the money is like. That's not what we signed up for.
especially if you got people telling you like, chick, you don't need it, and money heard them was like, I ain't coming.
The
I mean,
money was like, what? Oh, she don't. Oh, I mean,
so
because it was just the craziest thing. I mean, when I look at what I bring in, like what I make, I'm like, oh, like you're good. But that was before this other number showed up. Like, like we over here, like you ain't that good because we over here, like you need to take care of us. And I'm like, but everybody's like, oh yeah, you can. I believe you can do this by the summer without an extra job. And I'm like, how you believe that? Because I'm not believing that. Maybe hey, maybe I need to believe bigger.
believe bigger. Yes, borrow
But
their belief until you
I'm
exactly.
just like, okay, I'm glad you're seeing that because I'm not seeing it. All I'm seeing is that my little plan I had ain't working. Like it ain't working, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like I was supposed to, have this, that, so much done and be so far along with this other job, and I'm like, it's just not like it's only 2 days a week. It's like they can't get together for 2 days a week. It's like maybe I need to find something here
Nope.
locally and not be trying to do, and I'm just like, but then there's a part of me, it's like, oh my gosh, it's dreading doing the extra job. And so it's like, but I'm dreading doing, but then I'm like, but no, chick, like you need to pick yourself up and do it because you need the extra money. Because there's I woke up today and I was like, oh my God, like these schedules are still not together. I still can't see kids. I started to email them and be like, you know what? Like I'm not, like just take me off of the contract. This is not working. Like it's just not going to work. The school year is almost over. But then there's the other part of me is like, ma'am, like get your hands off the keys because you are not about to email them that because you need this extra money. And
Money
I'm just
doesn't like
like,
money doesn't like desperation.
well, yeah, I feel like I've been really desperate.
I think your money. I think your money is like,
That's
nah.
why all the money is like, we ain't going there.
I
Like we're
got
going
got
here.
that Shannon Sharp meme.
The money said nope.
Because so just something to consider. Just something to consider. Your our energies play more into our subconscious, play more into our reality than we give it credit to. You are saying with your mouth, "I want this job," but your energy is like, "I don't really want this." So what is it? We both believe in God, but God, there are universal laws, and it's like we got free will, and our free will saying, "Oh, you don't want this, then we just not gonna let it come. We want to make you happy, so job be gone."
But then I feel like if I send that and I'm like, oh, I just can't do it. Like this is not working. I'm not feeling it. Then I'm going to be like, oh my God, like what did you just do? Like, and in the back of my mind, the first thing that comes up, like, oh my gosh, like you are never going to get out of this debt. But then I'm like, but are you getting out of it now? Because you still ain't got no check, and we going into April.
Right.
It's
So
like, so what have you really done here? It's like you've been paying it with your check. I mean, when I look at like my salary is good. Like my salary is good without the extra stuff. But in my mind, I'm just trying to like, I gotta pay. But then and I've thought so hard about what people have said about, two people that I definitely trust who are like, you don't need anything extra. And I thought so hard about that and I fought so much against that because like, the other part of me is like, yes, you do. Because like you have got to get rid of this, debt. But I'm like, I don't want to work. Like I have all these other things that I need to do and be working on and be writing and doing. But it's like, but you also need to be working so you can pay out this debt, ma'am. So I don't know. But like I said, it hasn't been working because like I said, I'm supposed to have two other extra credit cards paid off by now from all these checks that I was supposed to be getting from February and March. And here it is, like I said, I'm going into April and I ain't got not nan check yet because it just has not, it's taking so long to get everything up and going. And I'm like, Lord, like, what are you trying to tell me? Like, are you trying to tell me this ain't it? Because still now it's not going to be, I'm still not going to be able to start seeing kids probably until like next week or maybe the week after. And I'm like,
But you only want
I
to see the
mean,
kids because of the debt. You don't want to see the kids because you want to help.
and I thought about that too. It's like, well, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna do good, but it's like I
Of
need
course
the
you
hours
are.
and I
Right.
need the money.
Right. You're
All
going
the
to
money.
show up because that's who you are. But energetically, you're like, come on, little debt pay.
It's like, come on, I need y'all to log on to these therapy sessions because I have debt to pay.
And I
So
don't,
like, like you can't be absent. No, like no, y'all need to bring a kid in, any kid, because I need to get these hours. But that's not the way. And now that I'm sitting here thinking about it and saying that, like, oh my God, like that is not how I want to operate. But then there's that part of me that's like, girlfriend, like you have to operate this way because you have to get out of this debt. And I feel like, it's just they're both sitting right here, like, hey, no, like that's not good energy. Like everything you said. And this I'm like, girl, forget energy. You need money, cash money. Like
but,
you get energy later.
but this is where you center them and really sit and then you go with what's true for Kim. So they're going to be here, but it's your job to bring them together and operate from who you are at your core, your values and your true beliefs and what type of person you want to be. And you operate that no matter what, if the children come or not. So you're gonna have to detach because you said debt like 100,000 times since we've been on this call. So I need you to work through your relationship with debt because
Okay.
because if you don't, then you're going to be operating out of integrity. You're not going to feel good about helping the kids, and it's going to drain you, and then you're going to find something else to beat yourself up about. Well, you should be writing because you just said that. So it's like, why we got to go through all of that?
And I feel bad about that because like I had all these wonderful quarter one goals and I have not met my quarter one goals because, and I feel like, there are other things I am supposed to be doing and working on. But like the days that I would be doing those things are the days I'm supposed to quote be working that I have not the work I have not done yet. And then I feel bad. It's like, okay, so then if I don't see the kids, they don't have nobody to see the kids, but it's like they ain't have nobody to see the kids all year. And like school's getting ready to be like the kids been without therapy since August. So it's like, I mean,
I mean,
is it your problem? Like, no, it's not really my problem. And I just feel, I don't know, I really have to sit with this because like the whole work thing has been like, I've been going back and forth with them for the last couple of weeks. And I'm like, I really don't want to do this, but I really need to do this, but I don't want to do it.
and the
I don't,
universe
I
is
want to do
saying,
my
I
one
got you.
job. I want to do my one job and then, do all the other things. And I remember even, not to be all uber spiritual or whatever, but there was something specifically that God had told me to save for. And I remember when he told me to save for it, he was like, I'll take care of the other bills. And I was just like, and I just kind of wrote it down in my little prayer journal. I was like, okay, just kind of kept on going. But I've been going back to that, like, okay, he said, to save for this, but he was going to take care of the other bills. And I'm just like, I just really have to center myself at this point because even though like the other job can't get together, every day it doesn't get together. I'm so glad because I'm able to work on other stuff. But then also I'm like, man, I could use that extra money, my check right about now. But
Well,
I don't want to do it.
but what if you cleared all this stuff up and get away from the desperation and maybe perhaps when the other money comes, the abundance that comes is for the thing that you're supposed to do. Again, the money is like, oh, we're not gonna have fun and we're not gonna do what God said. We ain't coming over
Like,
there.
we definitely ain't coming there.
We definitely not coming.
And then I'm like, well, God, how am I supposed to do that and pay the bills?
I,
But then I go back to like, well, God said He would take care of
I
this.
was gonna, and that's between you and him. That the how is not your problem.
I know. And I keep looking at it and I'm like, what is wrong with all of this? Like, just, but I've just like, I've never like had like gotten a side job and totally not wanted to do it.
I
Like,
know.
I've never like
I
had, because
know.
like my adjunct stuff, like I love my little adjunct stuff. It flows, it does good. But like this little thing, I've just, oh my God, just
Because it's
not
the
wanting to do it.
why you want the job. It's the energy behind it.
Yeah, I mean, it's strictly to pay off debt. It's not that I'm trying to get back into it is strictly because, oh, I need extra money to pay off all of this debt. So that is the only reason I'm doing it. The only reason. Like
and
there's
I
no other reason for me to do it.
and I know you said you don't want to be super spiritual, but we're in it, and that's just part of who we are. It could also be, and you all that's watching coaching, I only go where the client leads me to go, so I don't put my beliefs on anybody else. But remember, I know Dr. Kim, and it also could mean God is telling you, if I'm your source, why would I allow you to get something else to be your source that you're putting in front of me? Why would I help you not trust me?
I know. And that's been another thing too. Just that's been another thing too. Just about everything about God just being my true provider and me not depending on, and that was like where the other lady I was talking to this does some like coaching, like relationship, like coaching stuff. And that's kind of where she was coming from, like, hey, like he, wants to be your provider, like your provider. She's like, you ain't got to be out here working all these jobs. She was like, what have you ever been without? She said, you ain't been, I had to think about it, like, I haven't been homeless. I haven't been, Lord knows I ain't been hungry. I ain't missed no meal. So, because these thighs been out here thigh, so I ain't missed no meals. I haven't been naked. I ain't been walking around here, out. So it's like I realized that, but I guess in my mind, and then too, maybe some of it is too, me like trying to do it all on my own, and I know that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know I'm supposed to be in this season of him, really being my provider. But it's like now I'm like totally going against that by saying, no, but I need this job. And I feel like he's gently been saying, no, you don't. But then it's like, but hey, if you want to, keep out there trying to make it work. And maybe that's where like the whole, because even I was praying, I was like, God, say I've never gotten a side job and just like not wanting to do it. Like, what is this? Like, that's never happened. Like, I did therapy, teletherapy a couple of years ago and loved it. It worked out great. It
Mm-hmm.
flowed great. Everything was great about it. But this is the one that pays the most, and it's been the craziest. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that's never happened before. I mean, never happened. Like I said, the school year's about to be over, and we still haven't gotten it together.
Yeah,
And then it's
because
like if I tell them no, I'm gonna feel, and then I'm like, I'm gonna feel so bad, and then I feel like God is saying, but what does that have to do with you? Oh, better yet, what does that have to do with what I told you?
what I told you.
Ah,
Now,
that's just a lot.
for our second close, what came up for you? How do you feel now?
I mean, I I feel like I do. I feel like definitely this conversation, but and then even what you just saying about how many times I mentioned debt, I feel like now that there is something with debt in me that's like beyond there's something that I have not even tapped into. And I feel like it's something that I do, because I'm also like in this space, like because even like I have been reading all of these different books and, just trying to read all these different things, not, like good, books or
Mhm.
whatever. But even, within the last couple of weeks, guys, like stop reading all the books right now. It's like, we're not going to read any more books. Like, you're
Mhm.
just my word,
Mhm.
like just my word, like stop, it's too much. Stop listening to all the, because even like some of the podcasts and stuff I've listened to, he was like, nope, just like stop right now. I just need you here. And I feel like that's even beyond like all of these other things. And I feel like now just knowing what I do about debts and hearing what I'm saying about debt and where I'm like centering myself with debt, that there is some deeper stuff that needs to be done there. And I totally did not realize it until now. And so I feel like, it's kind of been a reminder of some of the things that he told me to do that I need to go back and be obedient and do. But then too, also for me to really just kind of sit and be like, okay, like what's going on here? Like this is not right. Something is not right. And it's like I don't want to keep moving forward in life and doing all the things if I haven't figured this part out. It's like I don't want to get to, where he's trying to take me and I'm still out here trying to figure out why I have this unhealthy relationship and just, why? Because I didn't even think about the fact you were like, how many times have you said that? And it's like, oh my gosh. It's like
Mhm.
I have said it a lot. I was like, I don't think I was supposed to say it that many times. I don't think that's how that's supposed to work.
But that's
I
been
don't think
what,
that's what's supposed to happen.
but that's whatever you put your energy on, that's what grows. So that's what
And
it's.
you know what? Yeah, because that has consumed my mind.
Mhm.
Even if subconsciously it has consumed my mind. Because I feel like anytime I do something, if I go to the grocery store, if I go and pick up
Yes.
food, it's like, girl, you gotta eat. But I feel like every time I'm spending money now,
Mhm.
it's in the back of my mind. I'm thinking about that. Even like things I have like gas. I have to have gas in my car. I have to buy food to eat. But it's like now, when I go exercise and they take the money out of my account every week from the gym, it's like, do you need that? And I'm like, hold up now. Like I'm keeping that because the health thing is actually, is getting on track now. So it's like, no, I'm not taking away from that. Um, but I feel like I spend way more time thinking about money and debt than I ever have. And I don't think I'm supposed to.
And that
I know I'm
could.
not supposed to.
No, stop saying what you're supposed to and not supposed to. That's what's happening
I
right
don't
now.
think it's health right. And I
That's
don't think it's healthy.
right, and that could lead to what you also wrote down. That could you handle this, and who knows what could take care of the other the other stuff just for a little bit.
Right.
So it could just be you doing the exercise and releasing whatever the cortisol is built up for that stress that you're holding on to. But
Right.
deal work through that. Listen to those questions. Listen to the questions and answer them, even if you have to pause. And don't respond with judgment. Don't respond because you also said I shouldn't, I shouldn't, I shouldn't. Stop shouldn't on yourself and just and just answer the questions. If it comes up, then it is what it is. Who's judging you but you? You're nobody gonna read the answer, so why so why judge what you're gonna put out? So when you're answering the
Right.
questions, don't censor yourself and don't judge yourself. Because if you do, we'll be back on the call and be like, did you all right, let's work through why you're judging yourself and just do it right the first time. Just no judgment. You're in a safe place and you love yourself and there it is.
Okay. Ooh.
Breathe.
Okay. I
Well,
mean, I do feel better now. Like I do feel better. Um, I definitely feel like I definitely feel like I'm in a different headspace now, and I have a lot to sit with and journal about and figure out. And so, which is good, which is good stuff. Um, yeah, okay,
yes. And if you already have people you're working with, that means you need to coach yourself. You got this. Because this is not like trying to figure out. You already have stuff in place, and if they keep side-eyeing you, it's you.
Yeah.
So you already have support. You're already supported, so we don't have to worry about that part. Whatever happened has already taken place, so it's not like you got to relive it.
Right.
You're just letting it come out, just so you can have. You're researching yourself. You are your own case study.
Ooh, child.
Your research question. I can say this now because I don't have those flashbacks no more. That was a lot. Well, sometimes I'll be having flashbacks, but anyway, your research question. You know, what is my association with debt?
Right.
And then I'm just
Mm.
gonna keep answering. It's gonna be qualitative, qualitative, and then you find those,
Oh.
and then you find those common themes.
Go back and look for the themes.
Right. And then you make your analysis.
Mm. And see, that's something that I'm supposed to be working on. I actually just got through collecting data for a qualitative study that I have to present in Orlando next month, and I have not analyzed the interviews yet. And in my
So,
mind, I'm like, God, when am I going to do this? Like, I'm supposed to be seeing kids on Tuesday and Thursdays. That should be open time for me to be working on this research project. And I'm like,
but you can't because debt.
right, because I keep thinking, but I got debt to pay, so I can't be doing my job because I have debt to pay. Because in my mind, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pay off all this debt because when August comes around, I'm just gonna have my adjunct job. Like I'm not gonna do all this extra stuff. Like I just want to do that. And then I feel like I put so much pressure on myself. That's because I'm like, you have to have all this done by the summer. Like August is gonna be gone. I'm like, but what if it isn't?
What if it isn't? And that's a real question to ask yourself. What if it isn't? This is the best it's gonna get right now. Can you live with it? This is the best it's gonna ever be in this moment. Can you live with that?
I mean, like this is it. Like this is the
At
best.
this moment, we're not thinking the future because you're not there. But right here at this moment, with the culmination of decisions you've already made, this is the best it's going to be.
Okay.
So you have to be okay with this. This is as good as it's going to get right now in this moment. Can I still love me and find joy in this moment? And I'm a cheat. The answer has to be yes.
Okay.
Those of you who are
Okay.
watching, I promise I don't laugh. I'm not laughing at her. I just know.
Yeah, and I know like with her laughing, like I know what I know her, so I know what the laughing means. I know it's not, like I know this. I like yeah.
So I don't want
But I
y'all to
mean it's
think.
just like when you said that, I was like, wait, what? This is it. This it don't get no better than this. And I think I have to take some of these unrealistic expectations.
No, no, no. No. And well, see, this could be like a 5 hour session. Take all of that. You get to have. I promise y'all, they're not this long. You get to have whatever you're expecting. You get. It could be.
Okay.
You like sprinkles and unicorns and rainbows. That's you. You get to see. You get to be that. So stop it. Some of this is like you trying to dull the brightness and the airiness of Kim, and that's not who you are. This is not a dig, but you're just not that serious, and that's okay. You're just not. So it's like, why you keep trying to be so serious? And it's not saying that you're not responsible, but it's like
Right.
I feel like you're taking on this identity. That's something else you need to explore. You're taking on this identity, like,
Mm-hmm.
well, maybe I shouldn't like the unicorns anymore. And who said you can't?
I still like unicorns. I just got some new unicorn Crocs for Christmas.
Well, but see, I told y'all
It's
I'm
just
not making it. I told y'all I know her, so I'm not saying that. It's like there was a a carefreeness about you that yeah, I like doing all these things, and I can approach things no matter what. Your whole PhD process was like that. Yeah, it was frustrating, but it was like, go get me a cupcake. you know? But now it's like, you're like, no, I shouldn't be this way. I have to do this. These are what people are saying to me. I have to be realistic. And that's not you. I'm not saying you're irresponsible. I'm not, so being realistic and those are not things, but it's just your energy behind how you
And I don't
approach
know where
it.
that came from.
That's what you're gonna figure out.
And like, I don't know if it's just all the stuff I've been listening to and listening to this person and that person. Like, I don't know because I know like that what you're talking about, like that is me.
Mm-hmm.
That is what people always say, like, oh my gosh, you're like just so carefree. Like, does anything worry you? Does anything bother you? And I'm like, does it? It's like, oh, and I'm like, well, like, hold up, like, how much time do you have? But like that, like, I don't know. And even like when listening, hearing myself say all of these things and respond to your questions, even I'm asking myself, like, where did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like, where did that even come from? Like, okay, I gotta write that down.
Yeah, so I'm with Jesus. Shut down all the podcasts and and tune
Because
into
they
the
can all be, it could be overwhelming. Like when you're in all these different,
oh yeah.
groups and you listen to all these different things, everybody's saying something different. It's like,
Mm-hmm. I'm a bad person if I save too much. I'm a bad person if I spend too much. What is happening? I don't. I'm this age, and they said I need to have this amount of money to be. Oh yeah, I know.
it's a lot. It's a lot, and I'm glad that you said that because I'm like, I don't know where this, I don't know where all that came from. Like I don't know where it came from,
Yeah,
and
sit,
I don't know.
sit with it and just take some time. Like I said, don't try to do everything in one day. Don't speed through it. Just every now and then you get a thought, write it out, and still live your life. But just start monitoring and digging deep, drilling down, and then I think a lot more things will start coming up, and then either you'll start disassociating more, or then you'll get more aligned to who you should actually listen to or not listen to. So yeah, drill down
Okay,
and and go figure that stuff out. And then, like I said, when you're playing with the amount of money, because whatever that number is, remember, go play with that, and then remember the carefreeness of Kim. Like, I don't want to keep calling her irresponsible, Kim, because she's not. But there are
right.
qualities that you love about her. Let her. She can still be there. She can still. She she ain't got to be on. She don't want to be on beans and rice. Okay. She don't want to.
No, not just by themselves.
Right. So yeah, this is a holistic thing, and it doesn't have to be an either or. And from what
Okay,
I remember about you, you're not an either or person. It's like just
right.
yeah, you got to tap back into your energy and who you are at your core. So for you, all of this is about detoxing. That's
Mm,
that's what this is.
okay. Ooh, just when I think I didn't got it together,
You
something
do
else comes
have
up.
it together.
Well,
Stop it.
not that way, but just when I think, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, this is what it is. It's like, oh no, but this has been this. I think this is yeah. I've been on this like just healing journey over the last few months, and God just keeps bringing up different things for me to work on and to figure out. And so this is just another layer. Just this whole like the question you gave me, what is my association with that? Never thought about that before. But apparently now this is something that's coming up because this is something that needs to be fixed and be healed and be sorted out as
Cleared. Yeah, you
right,
don't want to say fixed because you're not broken. It just needs to be cleared.
right. It needs to be cleared.
It just needs to be cleared.
Exactly. Exactly.
Even you
Whew.
look different now.
Well, that's a good thing.
I'm
That's a
telling
good
you.
thing. And that's yeah. Mm, okay.
So, do you
Ooh,
feel do you feel complete in this moment?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
All right. See. All right. So I guess I
And
can
kind of
close.
excited too. Yeah, complete. And I definitely I feel excited now.
Okay. So
Yeah, I
what's
do.
one thing you can do immediately? What's one action step that you can do immediately?
Um, I think one thing I do need to do immediately is to just really kind of make a decision um about the other position. With that, make a decision about if I'm gonna, tell them, hey, this is just not working out. Because I do feel like even in our conversation, there were a lot of things that came up that kind of confirmed what I feel like I know, but have not wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to make a decision about that. And then too, just, when I get a chance, as soon as this is up, go back, listen, write down some of those questions. I already got a whole bunch of notes that I'm, going to start writing in my journal when I'm having my quiet time, kind of, start going through those things. Um, so like those are going to be the immediate things. And since I have my numbers sitting over here in my little money book, I may just go ahead and open that up and look at that a couple of times. Just to kind of get it, just to kind of get things, moving and flowing. And so, yeah, those are the things
Yay!
I'm gonna do like right away. Yeah, that was whoa. Yeah. I needed this. Did not realize it, but yeah.
Yay! Well, I'm glad I was obedient to ask. I was like, I don't want to ask her. She's already done so much.
I'm glad you were too. And I, like I said, this was not just by coincidence. This was definitely, a divine setup because I feel like there were, yeah, a lot of things brought about, a lot of things confirmed. This was definitely much appreciated and definitely needed.
Well,
So
I
as all you people out there who'll be watching this, you'll see that, once, this is definitely needed. So
Well, I thank you so much, Dr. Kim, for taking this time out with me and trusting me through this process with you because I know money is not a conversation people like to talk about. And I commend you for talking publicly about it. And for those of you who are watching and people are like, well, I don't want to tell all my business. I remember she didn't tell me not one number and we went through some things. So it's not always
right,
about telling your business, but it's getting to at the core of what it is and talking it out and having someone to ask you questions that you wouldn't know to ask yourself. Now, some of you may have you saw me looking down. Well, I always come in with a plan because I'm a teacher by nature and by profession, but I still let Kim drive the session. So because it's not about me, it's about the breakthrough that she was going to have and for the client to have, and those of you who are watching could possibly have. So you never know how is going to go. If you are interested, the information will be down below. I don't do these as often, but when I feel like I can provide value for someone with no strings attached, I'm open to do that. So this is not about, well, do this or you can work with me later. Well, it's up to you. I don't really care. I'm not like that, but it's not I have people say, I'm coming to do it and I never hear from them again. That's cool too, because in that moment, I was able to provide value for them. All right, so thank you all for listening and learning with us. And remember, the world needs you to be well, to be empowered, to be bold, and to be brilliant. Until next time, bye.
bye everybody.